All right, so you seem really interested in this Stolen Focus book.
Yeah, it looks like you've got like a whole stack of stuff here.
Reviews and articles, even the Goodreads page.
It's great you're going so deep with
Well,
this.
I mean, everyone's talking about this attention crisis thing, right?
Oh, for sure.
So I figured we'd try to like unpack it all,
Yeah.
see if this Hari guy is, actually on to something, if the book is any good, and like, is it even worth reading?
Yeah. Is it worth your time?
Exactly.
Especially with all the, different opinions out there.
Like,
It's tough to know.
okay, well, let's just jump right in then.
Yeah, let's do it.
What about that Medium review?
From Alex Skelton.
Yeah, what did you think?
Well, Skelton was saying he was drawn to the book, because he has trouble focusing himself.
Oh, yes, you know.
But what surprised him was that it's not like a self-help book.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with like a bunch of tips and tricks.
Huh.
He says Hari's argument is much bigger than that. He's saying that like all of our attention spans are shrinking because of these powerful external forces. Yeah, so it's not just you scrolling on your phone at 2 a.m.
Oh,
There's something bigger going on.
so like what kind of forces are we talking about here?
Well, technology is a big one, obviously.
Right.
But even the Goodreads description says our focus has been stolen by corporations,
Stolen?
Yeah, like they're hijacking our attention to make money.
Okay, I gotta admit, hijacked sounds a little dramatic,
I know, right?
but I get what he means, like you're constantly bombarded with distractions.
Totally.
So is it all just like Facebook and Instagram then?
Not just tech.
Oh.
Harry talks about sleep too, and
Yeah.
like nutrition and even pollution.
Wait, pollution?
Yeah.
How does pollution affect my focus?
Well, there's a lot of research on it.
Right.
Studies are showing that even a little bit of air pollution can mess with your thinking,
Oh, wow.
your attention memory, all of that.
I had no idea.
Harry really digs into it in the book.
Okay, so it's like all this stuff coming at us from every direction then.
Exactly like a perfect storm.
No wonder. I can't even remember what I had for breakfast this morning.
Right.
Okay, so all this is pretty fascinating, but is there any good news?
Like, is there hope?
Yeah.
Well, that's what we'll get to in the next part of our deep dive.
Right.
We'll look at what Hari thinks we can do about it
Okay, cool.
and what other readers are saying.
Sounds good. I'm ready for some solutions.
Let's do it. So we talked about how like all this stuff in our environment affects our focus.
Right. Yeah.
But what about the things we can actually control?
Oh, yeah, no point.
Does Hari just like blame the world for everything?
Or does he give us anything we can actually do about it?
Right.
That was my big question.
Yeah, well, Skelton mentions a few things in his review.
Okay.
Like Hari suggests things like meditation,
Uh-huh.
and digital detaxes,
Okay.
limiting notifications, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, those all make sense,
Mm-hmm.
but it's kind of like I've heard all of that before.
Yeah. Yeah, like put down your phone, meditate more.
Exactly.
It's good advice, but it doesn't really solve the whole problem.
It feels like putting a Band-Aid on a broken leg.
Right. And some people on Goodreads felt the same way.
Really?
Yeah, like Chris Boutte thought some of Hari's ideas about tech were kind of basic.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of other people liked the book. Like Aaron L. said it was actually a really good read.
Interesting.
He said even though some of the stuff was familiar, Hari is a really good writer.
Oh, okay.
And he makes it interesting.
So it's not just like a boring textbook.
No, not at all.
Okay, good.
He's really good at telling stories and weaving in research and stuff.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, it makes those complex topics way easier to understand.
Yeah, that's always good.
Another reviewer, Nina, said that the book helped her see the bigger picture.
Oh, how so?
Well, she realized that it's not just about personal responsibility,
Okay.
Like there are these bigger societal things that make it hard to focus.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's not just you, it's the whole system.
Okay, but if it's like the system's fault,
Mm-hmm.
then doesn't that let people off the hook?
Oh, that's a good point.
Like, do we even have any control over our own attention anymore?
That's a really interesting question, and some reviewers definitely felt that way. Like Rachel Chambers thought Hari focused a little too much on those outside forces.
Okay.
But even if you don't agree with everything he says, I think the book can still start some good conversations.
Okay.
Like another reviewer, Lois Bujold, called it an antivirus program.
What?
Yeah, for like all the high-tech stuff that's trying to hack our brains.
Whoa, okay, that's pretty intense.
Right.
You mentioned earlier that some people weren't happy with how Hari talked about ADHD.
Yeah.
Could you tell me more about that?
Well, a couple of reviewers, Johann Hari and Claire, both felt like he oversimplified it.
Mm.
Like he focused too much on the environment and not enough on what it's actually like to have ADHD.
Yeah, that's a really important point. So like if someone's really interested in that part, they might want to look for other books too.
Definitely.
Okay, before we move on, I wanted to ask about something else I saw in the reviews.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
Some people mentioned that Johann Hari has had some controversies in the past.
Oh, right.
Like as a journalist,
Yeah.
does that like affect how you see the book at all?
It's definitely something to keep in mind. Like an author's credibility is always important,
Mm.
but I think you should try to judge the book on its own merits, you know?
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Look at the evidence he presents
Right.
and try not to get too caught up in his past.
Okay, so putting aside the author for a minute,
Yeah.
what about the writing itself?
Like, how readable is it?
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to read some dense academic book, right?
Even if it's an interesting topic,
No way.
is it like enjoyable to read?
From the reviews, it sounds like it.
Okay.
A lot of people said that Hari is a really engaging writer.
Huh.
Like Aaron L. called it a page turner. And he said the insights were really valuable and easy to understand.
Okay, good.
Yeah, he explains things clearly and uses stories and examples to illustrate his points.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, me too.
It's always good when a book can hold your attention.
Especially when it's about attention.
Exactly.
You know, some people even compared his writing to Malcolm Gladwell.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
I love Gladwell.
He's so good at making you think about things in a new way.
Totally.
And it seems like Hari has that same skill.
That's awesome.
But a good story needs substance, too.
Right, of course.
So let's look at some of the key takeaways that really stuck with people.
Yeah, what were some of the things that people were talking about?
Well, one big theme was the impact of technology on our brains.
Okay.
Hari's argument is that these tech companies are designing their products to be addictive.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that.
Like they're hijacking our attention so they can make more money.
Wow.
One reviewer, Tanja Berg, even said that she started using apps to limit her screen time after reading the book.
Oh, like freedom and stuff?
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy how much time you can waste online.
I know, right?
Like, just disappears.
Totally. And Hari's book really explains why that happens.
Okay.
And it gives you ideas about how to, like, get back in control.
That's good.
He talks about the psychology behind our digital habits and stuff.
But weren't some people saying that his solutions are kind of unrealistic?
Yeah, some reviewers thought that.
Like, he wants to change the whole world,
Right.
but is that really possible?
Yeah, a lot of people felt that way.
Like who?
Well, Hannah and Marcus both said that while Hari is good at explaining the problem,
Uh-huh.
his solutions, like regulating tech companies, just seem really hard to actually do.
Yeah. Especially in a world where everyone wants to make money.
Exactly.
So it's easy to point out the problem,
Mm-hmm.
but actually fixing it is a whole other thing.
Totally.
Did any of the reviewers have any other ideas?
Like more practical solutions.
Yeah.
Well, one guy, Nikolai Schudston, suggested checking out other books. Yeah, like Deep Work by Cal Newport and Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah, they're more about practical tips for focusing and managing distractions.
Okay, cool.
He also recommended authors like Matt Taibbi and Noam Chomsky.
Oh, wow.
They write about media bias and politics, which are things that Hari touches on but doesn't go super deep into.
Interesting.
So even if Stolen Focus doesn't give you all the answers,
Right.
it can lead you to other books and ideas that might be helpful.
Yeah, like a gateway drug to more knowledge.
Exactly. And that's what's so great about these deep dives.
Yeah.
It's not about saying if a book is good or bad. It's
Mhm.
about using it to think critically and explore different perspectives.
I love that.
Okay, so we've talked about the main arguments,
Yeah.
the good stuff, the bad stuff.
Yeah.
We even looked at some different viewpoints.
Right before we get to our final verdict,
Mm-hmm.
there are a few more details from the reviews that I want to mention.
Oh, okay, let's hear them.
So one reviewer, Andrea McDowell, talked about her own experience with social media
Okay.
during the pandemic.
Mhm.
She was saying how she just hit a wall with all the online stuff.
Oh, wow.
She was feeling overwhelmed and angry all the time.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
So she decided to disconnect.
Like a digital detox.
Yeah, and she started doing more analog things.
Like what kind of things?
I don't know, the review didn't say,
Oh, okay.
but she said it really helped.
I bet.
It's interesting how even people who are comfortable with technology
Yeah.
can get to a point where it's just too much.
Totally.
Like you need a break,
Yeah, it shows that the stuff Hari's talking about is something we all deal with.
right? It's not just a few people.
It's everyone.
And it reminds us that technology isn't necessarily bad,
Yeah.
but it's how we use it
Right.
and how it's designed that matters.
Exactly.
Another thing that stood out to me was from a reviewer named Sem Elpin.
Okay.
They were talking about how these social media companies use our emotions to keep us hooked.
Oh, like our anger.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they want us to be outraged. So
Yeah.
we'll keep scrolling.
Right. And it ties into Hari's whole argument about the attention economy.
Yeah.
Like they're stealing our focus to make money.
It's kind of scary when you think about it.
Yeah. It's like we're not just using technology.
Right.
It's using us.
It's manipulating us.
Exactly.
And as Hari says, that can have huge consequences, not just for us as individuals.
But for the whole world.
Right.
Which brings us to something that Powerroot John Chirac brought up.
Yeah.
They talk about how our attention spans are shrinking.
Yeah.
At the same time that we need to be dealing with all these huge global problems.
Oh, like climate change.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a really important point.
It is.
If we can't focus on these big issues,
Yeah.
how are we going to solve them?
It's like reclaiming our attention is about more than just being productive.
Mm-hmm.
It's about being able to engage with the world and make it better.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've covered a lot of ground here. We looked at the book's main ideas.
Yeah.
The praise, the criticism. We even talked about some personal stories.
And those bigger implications
Well,
for
yeah.
society and everything.
Now for the big question.
The million-dollar question.
Is this book actually worth your time?
Yeah, that's
All
what
right.
we're here to figure out.
Okay, let's move on to our final verdict
Right.
and see if we can help you decide.
Let's do it.
All right, so we've really dug into stolen focus now
Yeah. All the good stuff, the bad stuff.
and all those big ideas.
Definitely.
So final question,
Yeah.
should you actually read this book?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
And there's no easy answer.
Okay.
It really depends on what you're looking for, you know?
Okay, so what kind of person would really enjoy this book?
Oh, if you're someone who, like, feels distracted all the time, like you can't focus, and you're not sure why,
Yeah.
this book might really resonate with you.
Okay.
It's like Hari's saying you're not alone in this. It's not just you. It's like these bigger forces are working against you.
So it's less about giving you tips and tricks
Yeah,
and more about explaining why we're all so distracted.
exactly. He's really good at connecting all the dots.
Okay.
Like showing how everything from technology to our sleep habits to even pollution can affect our attention.
But what about those criticisms we talked about?
Oh, right.
Like some people thought he oversimplified things, like with ADHD.
Yeah, that's a valid concern.
Hmm.
And if you're really interested in that topic specifically, you might want to look at other resources too.
Okay.
But for a lot of people, this book is like a wake-up call.
Good.
It gets the conversation started, you know?
So less about solutions and more about raising awareness.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment.
Okay.
I mean, he does offer some suggestions,
White.
like doing digital detoxes and trying to change policies and stuff.
Right.
But those can seem kind of vague or unrealistic to some people.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think he's better at explaining the problem than actually solving it.
Well, yeah, I mean, if there was a simple solution to distraction,
Right.
we'd all be super focused all the time.
Exactly.
But I guess even just understanding the problem is a good first step.
It is.
Okay, so what about the writing itself?
Like, is it enjoyable to read?
Yeah, because I don't want to slog through some boring academic book.
No, you don't have to worry about that.
Okay, good.
The reviews all said that Hari is a really good writer.
Yeah.
Like, he's engaging and tells good stories.
Okay.
Some people even compared him to Malcolm Gladwell.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
I love Gladwell.
He's girl.
He's so good at, like, making you think differently about things.
Right.
And it sounds like Hari can do that, too.
Yeah, it seems like he has that same talent.
So if I'm looking for a book that will make me think about the attention crisis in a new way.
Uh-huh. And maybe inspire me to do something about it.
Yeah.
Then Stolen Focus might be worth checking out.
Okay.
It's not a perfect book, but it definitely makes you think.
One reviewer's question really stuck with me.
Oh, which one?
They said, in a world with all these huge challenges like climate change, can we really afford to lose our ability to focus?
Wow, that's powerful.
Right.
And it's so true.
It makes you realize that this isn't just about being more productive.
It's about so much more than that.
Yeah, it's about our ability to engage with the world and solve problems together.
Exactly.
So I think reading Stolen Focus is about more than just liking the book or not.
Yeah.
It's about asking yourself a bigger question.
Okay, what's the question?
Is my focus worth fighting for?
Wow.
And if so, how can I reclaim it in a world that's constantly trying to distract me?
That's a question we all need to be asking ourselves.
So there you have it.
We've gone deep on Stolen.
We've looked at all the different sides.
The good, the bad.
And now it's up to you to decide.
Yeah.
Is this book worth your time and attention?
Only you can answer that.
Happy reading, everyone.